Welcome to the September 12th, 2018 edition of the BitcoinNews.com daily radio show. We cover the biggest stories of Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency. This is your host, Space Marine. We're live from the event horizon of a black hole. I hope this transmission escapes the black hole so you all can hear it.
This is Space Cadet. What is up, everybody? Thanks for listening. Bitcoin is at 62.62 this time of the evening. Space Marine, take us through the analysis.
Affirmative, Space Cadet. Bitcoin's price has literally not moved since our last show. It's a very, very quiet day on the Bitcoin market. The Bitcoin market is known for moving 5 or 10% in a day, usually at least a few percent in any given day. It just hasn't moved. And it's been quite stable since it dropped. It went up to $7,500 around September 4th. That was like a little over a week ago. And now it dropped all the way down to about 6,200 or so, and we're stuck at this level. And this seems to be the support level. If you look at the longer term chart of the past few months, you could tell this is quite a support level, and this might actually be the bottom for now. It could start crawling back up. If it goes down, it probably won't go down more than $500. And now for our first story.
Ether shorts hit another record high as price sinks. Space Marine.
Affirmative, Space Cadet. So Ethereum has been having a really, really bad time. Like, once again, Bitcoin's actually like up just a little bit today on the coin market cap. At least they say it's over 6,300, but Ether's down 7%. It was like down 10% yesterday. So Ether's market cap's down to 17.5 billion. The price is down to $172. Put this in perspective, it was at, I believe, $1,700 like during the peak. So it's like down 90%. So the entire Ethereum mining field has been totally like decimated. All the investors have been decimated. There is no hope. They have fallen into the black hole. And like, so the shorts for Ether on BitConnect actually offers like short sales, which, and how that works is like you get a loan through the exchange and then you pay interest for the loan. And with that loan, you can decide to sell the Ethereum, and then you sell it for US dollars, and then Ethereum's price goes down, and then you buy it back. You buy back the Ethereum to pay back the loan and the interest, but then you make money because you sold it for US dollars at a higher price, and then it went down. You get profit. So the people have decided, wow, this is a great thing. So the shorts on BitConnect are up to 248,247, and the previous record high was around 247,611. So some people would say, oh, this might lead to a short squeeze, because basically if you have a lot of shorts and then the price goes up, the shorts have to unravel. Like, people will have to start covering their shorts. Like, let's say the price goes up at all with all these shorts in position, then they have to buy back the Ethereum and pay back their shorts. It's like they're required to, and that will cause Ethereum's price to go up, and then more people have to pay back their shorts. That's a short squeeze. That's probably not happening. It's really consistently going down. But, like, let's say it does rise for some random reason. Let's say someone says, I'm buying like $1 billion of Ethereum right now on BitConnect. Like, if that happens, it could cause a short squeeze. So it's like prime for a short squeeze if anyone buys a lot all at once. But in this market, it's just going down, 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 and down. And this is not the only place shorting Ethereum. BitMEX, like, just added Ethereum, like, I think a month ago. Right before it, like, it was crashing all year, but, like, BitMEX, the CEO said Ethereum is a shit coin, and it's going to go below $100. And I really saw that as an indication that, yeah, it's going to go below $100 because everyone on BitMEX is going to short it. Because BitMEX is like well known, they have 100 times leveraging. So if you put one Ethereum worth of money in there, you could short 100 Ethereum and make profits like 100x on Ethereum going down. So if Ethereum just crashes like he said it would, just even the expectation that it would crash just because he said it would make the whole market crash. Because BitMEX is such a huge place for trading. They trade billions of dollars of derivatives for crypto every day. So him just saying that and then everyone on BitMEX deciding that's probably going to work, that might have really hurt Ethereum's price, and it's continuing to. I think Ethereum is on track to go below $100. And in general, right now Ethereum's holding about $7 billion above the market cap of Ripple. We talked about Ripple on the last show, how they're not doing that good either. So it's like kind of like a race to the bottom. Ripple's going down, Ethereum's going down, and then Bitcoin Cash is also going down. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash is down 6% today. It's down to 420, so that must be exciting for some people. Other than that, Litecoin actually dropped below $50. Like, so basically, like, this is a total bloodbath. This show is really depressing. We are in a black hole right now. This is very depressing and black. not much we could do about this today, but it's always darkest before the dawn.
Authorities seize property of BitConnect promoters, Space Marine.
Affirmative Space Cadet. So BitConnect was one of the biggest scams in crypto history. And this story is simply saying, like, two of the people that were some of the main promoters of BitConnect, like, they scammed, like, billions of dollars, actually. They raised $5.6 billion from investors, a ton of money. And now the United States is asking the Indian authorities to seize their assets. I bet they don't even have anything left somehow. Regardless, this is speculation. So BitConnect was one of these schemes where you go around, like, they call them promoters, like, people went around saying, hey, buy BitConnect, it's like the next Bitcoin, it's going to be bigger than Bitcoin. Like, this is just like OneCoin came before this and kind of existed at the same time. So I even got scammed by the OneCoin people, because I don't know why I fell for it. This person just seemed really nice, and then he came up to me and made me buy some OneCoin. He didn't make me, but he convinced me. And then the OneCoin, they never even released the OneCoin. At least BitConnect, they released their own cryptocurrency, the BitConnect token, which is, like, still traded actually as BCC. It was taken off most of the exchanges. But if you look at the charts, it was one of the most prolific, destructive falls in history. It actually had a market cap back in January 2018 of over $3 billion. It was around $3 billion market cap. Actually, $2.6 billion. And then it crashed all at once. Like, I'm looking at the chart right now. Like, on January 6th, it was near its peak of $2.6 billion. And then by, like, February 6th, like a month later, it was down to, like, 22 million. So, and then it kept going down from there. Right now, its market cap, the market cap actually declined as low as, like, $4 million. And then now it's back up to $7 million somehow. Somehow people are buying this somewhere in the world, maybe. I don't know if it's traded really. Like, I thought it was taken off every exchange. I saw an article about that, but it's still there. Just goes to show even the worst cryptocurrency can have a market cap of 7 million. Like, this is, like, obviously a scam. It ruined a lot of people. It caused, like, tons of lawsuits, and it still has millions of dollars in its market cap. That should just be a warning that, like, just because crypto has a market cap doesn't mean it's worth anything. Because it's not worth anything. It's worth less than nothing. It's a scam. But yeah, like, it was like OneCoin, people were going around promoting it and being like, oh, if you buy this, it's the next Bitcoin, and it was like a Ponzi scheme. And then when the crypto prices started going down in January, they found out that BitConnect was actually, like, totally criminal organization, and so that caused the price of their coin to collapse, because if the price was going up all the time, the Ponzi scheme works. But the Ponzi scheme collapsed the exact moment the price of Bitcoin and crypto went down. So once the crypto prices started going down, they actually found out none of the money was in the bank accounts for BitConnect, and boom, it crashed. So that's the short story of BitConnect. There's no reason to dwell on this further. It's very negative. Now for our next story.
Winklevoss bonus as New York regulators approves Gemini stablecoin. Space Marine.
Affirmative Space Cadet. So the Winklevoss twins are well known. They got a ton of Bitcoin early on. They have, like, as much as Satoshi or maybe more. Like millions of Bitcoin, I think. I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, they've apparently launched a stable coin called, like, the Gemini dollar, because they run the Gemini exchange in New York, and it's a really regulated exchange. Like, they actually work with the Wall Street people, and so they're extremely regulated and official, and they can actually work with Wall Street safely. So they've launched a stable coin where people, instead of having their money in dollars, they could have their money in a cryptocurrency that's pegged to the dollar. So, like, a stable coin means, like, Tether is the main stable coin, the USDT. It's, like, worth $1. It's a cryptocurrency token worth $1, and it's always worth $1. So that's all this is. I don't see how this is that important. Like, of course it's important for them. Like, Gemini can now offer their own stable coin, but I don't see why they need it, because anyone using Gemini would be able to access dollars too. This is the nature of Gemini. So, someone calls stablecoins the holy grail of cryptocurrency. His name's Nick Tomino, founder of @OneConfirmation. He says, stablecoins are the holy grail of cryptocurrency. I disagree. The whole point of cryptocurrency is to be a decentralized system that's independent of fiat. So stablecoins are basically printing more fiat. Just like they've made some paper Bitcoins when they have, like, these Bitcoin futures that are not backed by Bitcoin in Chicago, and also all these Bitcoin derivatives of various forms, like the ETFs that they want to launch. It's actually printing money when you make a stablecoin. It's because you put the money in the bank account for this. Like, that's how a stablecoin works. There's money in the bank account back in the stablecoin. Like, for each dollar, there's $1 in a bank account, but then you print stablecoins. So it's like money printing, and it's tied to the price of fiat, and It's only useful if you're in a place where you can't access fiat. That's how the USDT has become very popular. It's one of the top cryptocurrencies. Because there's a lot of places where you can't access the USD, so people buy the USDT and trade it like it's the USD. Other than that, though, it's not good to just be tied to the US dollar, in my opinion. There's no need for that. It's better just to have Bitcoin, which is independent of the US dollar and rises versus the US dollar long term. Now for our next story.
NASDAQ to trial predictions tool for 500 cryptocurrencies. Space Marine.
The farmer to Space Cadet. So NASDAQ is like the biggest exchange in the world, just below the Intercontinental Exchange. The Intercontinental Exchange runs the New York Stock Exchange, then NASDAQ's right under them. Well, they're not like owned by the same people, but they're the second place. And they've been getting more interested in crypto. I've seen lots of stories about NASDAQ being involved with crypto and blockchain. And now apparently they're going to track the price of 500 cryptocurrencies. And they're going to make price predictions using information from Twitter and Reddit. And also something called StockTwits I never heard of. Maybe that's something to look into. So they're actually going to take the public opinion. Like, for example, today, this radio show is very hard to put together today because all the news is extremely negative today. So, like, they're using these indicators. Like, hey, if the news is really negative, it's probably going to go down. And lo and behold, the news is negative and the market's going down. So NASDAQ could probably, like, it sounds like they've made a price predictor tool from social media and news sources. Like, if all the news is negative, that makes people want to sell. That's as simple as that. If all the news starts getting positive, people want to buy. And that's not everything to it. They're probably using some other metrics and algorithms. But it's interesting that NASDAQ's taking more of a role in tracking and predicting cryptocurrency prices. And I think eventually they're going to add cryptocurrencies to NASDAQ, but it's probably going to be after. Like an Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, which owns the New York Stock Exchange, the biggest exchange in the world, is first. Like they created the BAKKT exchange backed. We talked about that a lot. We haven't mentioned it in a while because it's happening in November 2018. It's coming soon. It's going to be really, really exciting. That's when crypto and Bitcoin's going to jump. We might be near 6,000 now, but when that Backed is launching physical Bitcoin futures, and that's the first time in history they're going to exist. Physical Bitcoin futures allow people to buy Bitcoin basically through like the stock exchange, because it'll be listed on the major stock trading platforms just like the Bitcoin futures are now. But the physical Bitcoin futures are backed by Bitcoin and settled for Bitcoin the same day, so it's just like buying Bitcoin, and you get the Bitcoin the same day. So when this launches, it's going to be very exciting, and it seems like NASDAQ will probably do the same thing later if it's successful. Now for our next story. Since the news today is particularly depressing and boring, we're going to go back in the time machine to an interesting story from 2010.
Bitcoin Pizza, Space Marine.
Farmer to Space Cadet. So the first Bitcoin deal ever. Like, Bitcoin Talk's like the main forum. And it wasn't the first Bitcoin deal, it was the first Bitcoin purchase. So this was the first time Bitcoin was used to purchase a robot. 2010 is like right after it came out. 2009 it launched. And before that, like, no one even used it for purchases because it was worth like 1 cent or like $1 or less than that. Like this, they used 10,000 Bitcoins in this case to buy 2 large pizzas from Papa John's. And it wasn't directly from Papa John's. They had to do a middleman. Like, one of the guys on Bitcoin Talk said, yeah, if you give me 10,000 Bitcoins, I'll use my credit card and buy you some pizza from Papa John's. And that's how it works with a lot of Bitcoin trades nowadays for stuff. Like, you could buy anything in the world with Bitcoin, any good or service, but usually it has to go through a middleman service just like this. So this was very interesting because this guy actually spent 10,000 Bitcoins, which is now worth like $63 million. It was worth $80 million when I wrote the article for this. The anniversary is in May, on May 22nd. So on May 22nd, it was actually worth $80 million. It's declined, this Bitcoin pizza. There's a couple pizzas that are worth now $63 million, basically. I don't know, though, because there's no guarantee that whoever got the Bitcoins in exchange for buying the pizza for this person, there's no guarantee they kept them. They probably didn't keep them, and there's no way to tell. Because back then, it might have rose to like $10, and then he probably would have sold all them, because that'd be a huge profit of $100,000. So he probably sold it, whoever did this deal. But anyways, the 10,000 Bitcoins are worth like a tremendous amount of money, and it's just a really good example. The Bitcoin pizza is like the best example of like how Bitcoin goes up long term. 2010, it is a while ago, but it's like not that long ago. It's like 8 years ago. And so, like, what could buy 2 large pizzas in 2010 can now buy, like, everything anyone could possibly want to live, like, the most luxurious lifestyle ever. Like, $60 million. It's enough to buy, like, a mansion and a boat and, like, an airplane and, like, servants and everything. So it's insane how much Bitcoin has gone up long term. This is one of the best examples. I calculated, like, the percentage rise back in May 22nd. So it was worth $80 million back in May of this year, the Bitcoin pizza, and that represented a 273,300,000% rise since the deal was done. So yes, there's been like hundreds of millions of percent increase for Bitcoin's price, because this is actually, there wasn't really Bitcoin exchanges back then, because this is one of the first measures of Bitcoin's price, and each Bitcoin is worth roughly 0.3 of 1 cent back then.
That's a lot of dough.
Well, actually, it's a little dough. 0.3 of 1 cent for a Bitcoin. But yeah, they didn't even get that much dough. They got like for 10,000 Bitcoins, they got 2 pizzas, and we all know we could eat like 2 pizzas all at once, like maybe with the help of a friend. So for like a couple of hours of cheesy goodness, they spent like tens of millions of dollars. You know, but that's a better way to spend money. You know, I know it costs them tens of millions of dollars in the future, but it's better than spending it on drugs or something. So way to go for them. They got some pizza for 10,000 Bitcoins. That's all we have for you today on the September 12th, 2018 edition of the BitcoinNews.com Daily Radio Show. Go to BitcoinNews.com for all the latest on Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency 24/7. If you read BitcoinNews.com, you will be an expert in no time. This is your host, Space Marine, signing out. I hope I don't get spaghettified into this black hole. We really are on the event horizon. Pray for us.
And this is Space Cadet. Thanks for listening.
Adios, amigos.